Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be going over one build you can try for literally every single role. We're going to be going from safe lane all the way to position 5. These are 5 heroes and builds that I've seen kind of in pubs as of late, and they're just really strong. They're just these builds that they're a little bit off meta. Not all of them. Some of them are actually extremely on meta, but some of them are off meta, and it's just such a good way to play Dota, especially in pubs. If you can catch the enemy team off guard with builds and items and playstyles that they just aren't familiar with, it's just a great way to run them over and have a good time at the same time. So nonetheless, let's get into it and start with the safe lane. But without further ado, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. You guys know how it is. It does mean a lot if you could click that like button for me real quick before we get into the video. Yeah, here we go. Now you guys know that I think jungling is absolutely broken, but having a jungle in real life absolutely is not. And that's why you need to try out Manscaped 4.0, and I'm going to tell you a bit about it. So Manscaped, who is the sponsor of today's video, was kind enough to send me their Performance 4.0 package, which comes with a couple of key things, a few that I've been using religiously. It comes with a nice pair of boxer briefs, a travel bag, the Weed Whacker, which is good for nose hairs. I don't have a lot of nose hairs. And then the major things that I've been using is the 4.0 lawnmower, which basically just lets you trim your jungle down below. It's completely waterproof, so I use it in the shower. It's easy to charge, and I've had no nicks. So just an optimal experience, an immortal experience. And then another thing that I've been loving is the Crop Reviver. It's basically like a scent spray for your balls, but it smells really nice. So I can't recommend it enough. And so go check out the Performance Package 4.0 in the description down below. We have a discount code. It's SPEED. Your boy Speed is the discount code. There are 3 E's in SPEED for 20% off your purchase and free international shipping, which means if you're from SEA, you have no excuse. And yeah, let's get into the video. All right, so for the safe lane, position 1, we have Sniper. Yes, Sniper safe lane. Sniper safe lane, man, this one is something I had to lane against recently. I picked Ogre Magi position 4. I go into the lane, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be fun. My hero's a pretty good laner. Well, joke's on me. I had a lane against the Sniper Bane with the Beastmaster. Now, here's what I'm going to say about Sniper's safe lane, okay? It does have flaws. Against certain matchups, let's say, you know, the position 4 is a Tusk and, you know, the position 3 is a Viper. You actually still could win that lane. However, if you do fall behind and you mess up, you will feed. You will feed. The thing is, if your position 5 is hero like Bane, or Undying, or Ogre, which is the main ones I recommend picking it with, I think CM is pretty good as well. Any of the heroes that dominate the lane at level 1, level 2, Sniper can pop off. This hero's spike at level 3 is absurd to lane against in the laning stage. Because the thing is, in the mid lane, right? Let's say you cast Shrapnel. It's good because, you know, it's a small area, so it zones them out, right? But in the safe lane, what you can do with Shrapnel is pair it with any sort of disable, which is why I'm a huge fan of something like Crystal Maiden Sniper. It seems very flawed, right? Because you might be like, it's 2 squishy heroes, they both get gone on. But in pubs, it honestly doesn't matter. As long as the CM takes Crystal Nova Frostbite 1-2, and Sniper takes Headshot and Shrapnel, and then Shrapnel again at 3, the spike is insane. If you don't know how Shrapnel scales, here's how it scales really quickly. At level 1, it does 25 damage. At level 2, it does 40. So essentially, it almost doubles in damage from level 1 to 2, and the slow increases by 6%, which is very substantial in the early game. And so if you can keep someone in a Shrapnel and is doing 40 damage per second in the early game, that is a stupid amount of damage, considering a lot of the time people will try to man up, right? And then you Shrapnel, and they get put into this catch-22, where they get destroyed if they man up, and if they run away, they're still kind of caught in the Shrapnel. And here's the build that you go in terms of items. For starting items, I generally recommend going 2 Slippers, Branch, Tango, Quelling Blade. You transition that into Treads, into Mask of Madness, and then the build can get a little bit weird. I played against BSJ Sniper, and apparently he was copying some sort of Matoma Man build, according to my Twitch chat, but he went Mask of Madness into Armlet. And to be fair, when you turn on Armlet, even if you're not a strength hero, it gives you 50 damage, which is significant for 2,300 gold. It's very significant. After that, he went for Dragonlance. I think from there he went BKB, but essentially you can just pop off. You do a stupid amount of damage and you click take aim, guaranteed headshots with Mask of Madness. Bada bing, bada boom. You're popping off. All right, number 2 is one that I actually think could be really good in this patch and in the upcoming patch, and that's Grimstroke. Grimstroke in High MMR is a relatively popular support, actually, so I don't think the hero is necessarily going to get buffed as a support for that reason. But I do believe that this hero already, as a core, actually has a lot of potential, even as an offlaner, but specifically as a mid laner. And there's a couple main reasons why. Number one, Grimstroke is a very good laner. This hero's Q, what is it called? Stroke of Fate? This ability, dude, it does way too much damage. It's actually so much damage. When you get your Null Talismans and it's amped a little bit as well, it's actually shocking, especially when you hit level 5, you one-shot range creeps, as long as you stroke through the wave, and you do like, I think it's like 300-ish damage at level 5 with one nuke, if it goes through the wave, obviously. It's insane. Like, I played it recently in one of my in-houses on stream, and it's like, I don't know, it was a stupid amount of damage. Like, it always catches you off guard how good this ability is. And the mid-meta right now, which could change, but the mid-meta right now, at least what's going to be the meta for the next couple weeks, is stack the small camp, farm the small camp. Stroke of Fate, boom! Annihilates the small camp. It just does, because it does more damage the more units it hits, right? It makes sense. And so this hero is really good in that regard. And he has some of the best scaling talents in terms of being a core. At level 10, he has Inkswell cooldown. At level 15, he has Spell Amp. All of his talents are good for being a core, especially level 10 and 15, which is very important. Because, you know, these are talents. When you're a mid laner, you get to your first talent first. So if you have a big talent spike as a mid laner, it's a huge spike, right? Because most heroes, they're not going to get a spike there. At least not early into the game. You're going to be the only one with a talent. And so if you have a spike like that, like Grim does on his Inkswell talent, or even the Phantom's Brace DPS, is frankly insane early game. Because at level 1, it does 10 damage per second. The talent is 50 damage per second on Phantom's Embrace. Like, the problem is you don't really put points in it, so it's not that great, but you get the point. There's a lot of potential there. And then in terms of items, man, this hero has options. It has so many options. E-Blade plus Phantom's Embrace. They can't kill the silence. It gets stuck on them. Your Ags is freaking insane. It's one of the most ridiculous Ags in the game. If you don't know what it is, Grimstroke gets to make an illusion of one hero that he chooses, or two if they're soul binded, and then this illusion does 150% of that hero's base damage. So if it is a high agi hero like a Luna, Medusa, PL, or Morphling, it will hit 50% harder than the actual hero. You heard me right. It will hit harder than them, unless they have added damage, right? Unless they have like data. It doesn't take, I don't think it, I think they can crit, but it doesn't get like additive damage, right? It gets the base damage. Nonetheless, this Ags is insane. Grimstroke Shard is insane. It's a hard dispel on Inkswell. This hero has a lot of potential. Number 3, I did make a video on this like only a couple days ago, but like, dude, I've been spamming Jakiro, and I'm gonna keep spamming it until it gets nerfed. It's so fun and so good. It's one of those heroes that just has a very clean laning stage. Like, both of its abilities are just insane early on into the game. It makes it impossible to trade because you're just always shoving in the wave into the enemy. Like, if they try to trade, they're just always eating creeps. Because Dual Breath and Liquid Fire, they just both lower attack speed, right? So these creeps not only are just taking down because both are AoE damage as well, but they also don't attack, so your creeps don't die. And this makes it impossible to trade in Dota because, like, most other spells don't shove the wave as hard. There's not a lot that do. At least not a lot that do on such a low cooldown, and so this hero just destroys the laning stage. And then, man, the Witchblade plus level 10 talent spike, it seems like a meme. If you don't know what Jakiro's level 10 talent is, it's 325 attack speed. Like, what? 325? That's even just good for straight up right-clicking. Like, that's nice just so you can right-click in general. Like, whether or not it's hitting a tower, pushing in waves, whatever. But what's so good about it is you can use it with the Liquid Fire, and that it also procs the Witchblade. So if you E someone from like across the map, it does like 500-600 damage. I'm not kidding. On like a 9-second cooldown, no committal. Like, no committal. It doesn't have to be in a team fight. It's just like, oh, the enemy Ember Spirit is walking up to mid to clear the mid wave. You E him. He just loses a third of his HP. It's like, uh-oh, he has to go heal. And for other heroes, it's even worse. Heroes that don't have ways to regen. Like, at least Ember can regen, I guess. But, you know, like, if it's some CM, dude, you can do, like, half of her HP from across the map. And she's just crying. Just crying. And then, yeah, if you don't know what the item build is, basically, you want to go 2 Knolls into Boots, into Wand, into Witchblade. Sometimes people don't even go Wand. I personally like it. Like, Wand raindrops, just, like, stat up, fight early game. And then what I like doing is I max my Q and my E before taking points on my ult your Ice Path. The reality is you have mana problems on Jakiro because Dual Breath is a very expensive spell. It's 170 mana on a very low cooldown, and you need to spam it to farm and to fight. So you're going to run out of mana just because of Dual Breath. If you take Ice Path and you take Macro Pyre, you can't farm. Like, all you can do is fight, and you don't want to just fight on this hero. You want to farm, you want to shove waves constantly, take neutral cramps from time to time. Neutral cramps. You need to cramp in the neutral creeps. But the thing is, you want to farm, get your Witchblade timing early, and take the tier 1s around the map. Liquid Fire is so good at taking towers. It just makes the game easy. And honestly, my favorite part about Jakiro, unironically, is the fact that Liquid Fire prevents Glyph from being good. Like, I hate the way that Glyph works right now. I just don't like it. Like, you can't push tier 2s early on into the game, which I think there's, like, some logic to. You know, it prevents the game from being too snowbally, but I don't know, man. Glyph, it just does so much damage. It's so annoying. And I like playing split pushers, so it's so annoying. But Liquid Fire, it just makes Glyph worthless. The tower hits like twice in the Glyph duration. It's so funny. So you can actually siege towers and continue to siege towers even after Glyph, which is a huge deal. And I don't think people really realize that. Next up, for position 4, is Treant with Meteor Hammer. Honestly, I just like this hero. I played a pub against it recently. I mean, I beat it, but it didn't really matter. Like, this Treant just staticked one of the towers, and my team tried to take a safe lane tower for, like, quite a bit of time, but he was just running in the trees, casting Nature's Grasp, and armoring the tower. We couldn't kill it, and, like, the amount of space this guy created was crazy. And I honestly recommend you guys just play generally the same. I don't recommend maxing out your Q, but, like, win your lane, max out Leech Seed, win your lane, then max out your E, and just dead lane a lane. Like, make one of the lanes, usually it's going to be your safe lane. Sometimes it can be mid, but usually it's one of the side lanes, so you can, you know, juke around in the trees and so on. And the best trees to juke in are your safe lane trees. So basically your best option is always to go to your safe lane after the laning stage, just break down if you plan on defending towers. So yeah, that's what I recommend you do. Like, try to win your lane, queue up your boots, like, get tranquils so you just can stay in the trees, buy raindrops, buy tranquils, buy clarities, just have basically infinite resources, and then queue up a Meteor Hammer. And the reason why I like this, like, you could rush Blink as well, but the reason why I like Meteor Hammer is it just lets you do the same thing, like clear the waves even faster. Nature's Grasp doesn't clear the waves too well. It kind of just stalls. It's quite low damage, even if you max it, so that's why I don't recommend maxing it. But yeah, the Meteor Hammer, it one-shots the wave. It gives you the ability to pressure towers if you manage to push in the waves, which often you will if people ignore you. And the Overgrowth Meteor Hammer combo is honestly really good. Like, because it's really easy to use because the Overgrowth duration is so long. So you can almost always get off Meteor Hammer, no problem. And on the multiple heroes as well. All right, and finally, for position 5, we have Weaver. Yeah, Weaver, I mean, this is the most meta one of the video. Of all 5, it's Weaver. I just want to talk about it in the regard that I don't think people realize how good this hero actually is. If you don't use bugs close to off cooldown anytime the enemy team overextends in the laning stage, you don't understand how good this hero is. Bugs is the, like, I want to say it's the best laning stage ability in the game. If it wasn't a 44-second cooldown, let's say it was like 20 for some stupid reason. If it was like, it's just some low cooldown, I mean, it would be the best ability in the game at level 1, hands down, in like every situation. It's just that good. It does a ton of damage, it reduces armor, and like you have to hit it 4 times. Like, what? 4 auto attacks? That takes most heroes like, what, 8 seconds in the early game? Or 6 or something like that? Who has that time? You don't have time to hit 6 times because you have to stop when hitting it as well, which means you can't run away or chase. Either way, it can be defensive, offensive, it doesn't matter. Usually it's offensive because of how busted it is. But no matter what you do with Weaver bugs, even if you mess up, like you go out of position, if you die and they commit on you, your safe laner gets a double kill like 50% of the time. And they get, at least a return kill, I would say like 80% of the time or 90% of the time. And you might think I'm over-exaggerating. I'm not. Like, Sakuchi is one of the best laning abilities in the game. You just hit them, Sakuchi, run away, regen up, hit them, Sakuchi, run away. Gemini attack is the same thing. You hit them with Gemini attack, you Sakuchi, it does like 200 damage, you run away, or like 150, and then you chip them down, which only takes like 30 seconds to do like at least a third of their HP, if not more, and then you bug them, and they're dead. And that's all you need to know. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh, Speed, shouldn't you mention Weaver Axe? I actually don't like Weaver Axe. I think the cast range is too low. I think it's like just overrated. Even though the ability in and of itself is theoretically very good, if not busted. After the cast range got nerfed 18 times in a row, unironically, the cast range on this Axe has been nerfed, I think, at least 3 times now. It's just inconvenient. You end up casting it, you have to get so close, you get hit by every AoE spell in the game, and you die after casting it. You can't get off of good bugs most of the time because of it, or you're less likely to get off of good bugs, you're less likely to get off as many Sakuchis, your urn, your vessel, you know, whatever you have. And yeah, that's gonna be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you try out some of these builds. If you do, let me know over on Discord, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.